Hey there, friendlies. How's up? I was just throwing something away. What do I usually start with? I'll tell you what I usually start with. Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the 30th of September episode of the Babies, Blades, and Bushcraft live stream, where we got some babies, we got blades, and we might, in fact, discuss some bushcrafty things. I was not in a comfortable position. That's better. Um, just let me put my blade back. Come on, fool. If you're watching us time shifted to tomorrow or next week or sometime in the future, thank you greatly for your patience, for your time, for your eyes, and for your ears. Do love knowing that you're watching, even if you're not participating in this little side chatting thing here. If you absolutely adore what's happening at any point tonight, I invite you to drop me a smiley thumb. If at any point tonight you kind of hate what's going on, that's all right. Frowny thumb works just as well. And if you would like to take a more active role in keeping me on air, then I invite you to hit that join button. Well, right click on it, open it in a new tab. There you will see the 2 tiers of membership that are open to you, as well as what you get in each of those tiers. There is no specific subject for tonight. I did not have time to set one up. I spent the weekend gigging. Once at a pub on the Friday, and then the Saturday we were doing a private ticketed event that was a fundraiser for the Montreal Children's Hospital, where they are trying to raise funds to build a teen center. Lots of music. We gigged the weekend before as well. I'm feeling a little run down because I'm too old for this. Today I received back my Mont Blanc Meisterstück 144 from the Knitmeister, who was regrinding it for me, which is good because I may now use this pen, because I have not been using it for 30 years because it was too broad for my handwriting. So I'm looking forward to inking that up. Maybe tomorrow. I get the feeling that by the time 11 o'clock hits the hits the house, I'm going to be a little too tired to do any of that stuff. So because I was gigging, I missed Books Fest. Seems that it got cut off due to music. Am I remembering? Did I read that right, folks? Bookfest ears. So without much further ado, let's see who's been kicking back with us and say hi to those who need to be said hi to. Just let me check something. What am I checking? I'll tell you what I'm checking. I'll tell you in a second, though, because I can't do two things at once. Stupid brain. Yeah. I'm still waiting for YouTube to pass me the monies that I received for September, I guess, including the money that Country Boy sent me to pick up a certain bottle of whiskey. So hi. So we had Christy popping in like 30 seconds after I set the go button. Oh, I do not like that that box shape. Whatevs. Yep, first place. Are you still first though, Christy? Sure is. And Christy is telling us that Chris may be late. He's loading up in Arizona and headed to Flagstaff. Flagstaff is yes, okay. We had Canadian popping in saying hi. Camping, canoeing, bushcrafting, like it. So it's just those two. Then we had Country Boy popping in. How you doing tonight, Mr. Boy? They just started saying hi to each other, so I'm just gonna scroll on down. Christy's gonna be on vacation Saturday. That's good. How long are you going for? Canadian is a year away from retiring. Nice. I will not get to retire, so I'm very, very envious. Um, it was not a holiday here, where I live in one of the provinces that does not that did not make Truth and Reconciliation Day statutory holiday. So I was at work. Canadian is absolutely tired of people, and I understand that completely. Can I change that shape without kicking us all out? I think I did. I hope I did. Ba ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum bum. Ah, there we are. Canadian deals with manufacturers, clients, staff. Everyone's unorganized, whiny. They don't care. I get it. Country boy is a man after my own heart. He's been tired of people since he was about 5. I'm just gonna move on down. Country boy saying hi to me, which is nice. Peanut trucker is still climbing the mountain, listening. Drive safe, Mister Peanut Trucker. We got Mark Davidson popping in. How you doing? Saying hi to everyone. Nice to see you. Christy noticed that the shoes are coming off. Yep. Yep. I'm in for the duration here, people. Those are my house shoes. Christy says, yeah, it was kind of not sure by what song. So it was a song then. 4th to the 11th. Nice. Nice. Uh, Canadian got an ad. I haven't seen an ad yet. I don't know why I'm not getting ads. Destiny popping in saying, hello. Apologies to Peanut Trucker who I wrongly called my northern friend last live because I was hopped up on cold meds. So hello, my southern friend. Oh, thank you, mister. I'm just sort of scrolling on down. Destiny is doing the God's good works here by saying hi to me specifically. I'm gonna have some. No, you know what? Ha! Saved it. Because I really didn't want to towel down the keyboard again. It kind of matches my shirt, actually. So where were we? Mark Davidson. My longtime personal motto: human contact is highly overrated. As a neurodivergent introvert, I agree. That reads true. As someone who masks as an extrovert all day, I tell you, like by the time I sit down for these live streams, I'm already kind of done for the day. But it's easier for me to talk to you guys through a lens. I don't know why I'm so comfortable talking to a lens, because if I was talking in a room full of people, it'd be a whole lot quieter and a whole lot more like. Anyway, people are agreeing with Mark Destiny. Thank you very much. Interesting thing. I was walking with the young oh, I wasn't walking. I drove the youngest to school, but, stopped a little further down the block, and we were walking to the school, and someone called out, "Happy Orange Shirt Day," and I'm like, "Oh, wow. No. No, that's not appropriate." Um, I didn't get into it though, 'cause, I mean, my girl was, like, skipping and dancing down the street, so there was no way I was ruining that energy. But when I picked her up from school, we went to there's this cafe hilariously called Columbus. It's a French cafe chain. Think of Starbucks, but, like, the machines are still manual 'cause French, not American, and, they have slightly different snacks and stuff. Um Oh, yeah, taking her to a place called Columbus on September 30th is probably not anyway, whatever. Um, and she's, sitting there and, munching on her little snack and stuff and just singing and dancing in the seat and everything. 'Cause, she had one on too, and, like, I was just struck by this thought that 'cause, like, yesterday when I picked her up from school, she was really down. I said, "What's up?" She said, "I'm sad 'cause of the indigenous kids." Like, so they're doing, like, units on that, and I was sort of trying to talk to her in a very child-friendly way and everything, but she still had no idea about I said this on, I don't know, Facebook or something, but she has no idea how much that little orange shirt that she's wearing actually weighs, and I don't she's gonna have to deal with sort of a more fundamental knowledge as she gets older, but anyway, that's enough about that because that's not why we're here, but thank you, Destiny, for noticing. Um, it's a very important day to me as someone who has, um, indigenous people close to him in a family way. Um, nice save, yeah, that was the fastest ever. Grace is here. How you doing, Grace? How's it going? But yeah, I love this, what Country Boy said, "For a bunch of apparent introverts, we sure do talk to each other all." It's easier with a keyboard or a screen, lens. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, so back to, how you doing tonight, Grace? How's the weather where you are? How are you feeling? How you feeling? Oh, I thought I was getting buzzed. That was a good pour. This, okay, is a, um, whatever sans alcool is, and, it's an alcohol-free, uh, beer, which just means it's 0.5% 'cause, I'm trying to make sure I don't get, 3 sheets to the wind on these lives, and especially 'cause, gigging weekends are quite booze heavy, so A, 'cause at the places where we play, we get drinks, and B, my fiddler and I always do sort of like a dram as a nightcap. We actually bottled down a delicious bottle that I'd been sort of saving, so mission accomplished on that one. Disney says, "Easy with this group. Nice level-headed chat, no assholic ones." Just his word, not mine. You can use that word. I'm fine with that. We got speaking of nice level-headed people, here's Mr. Hike with Mike in the house. How are things down in Florida, Mike? Oh, yeah, and Destiny's asking how the school year is going. How is it going? Country Boy says, "I'm trying to keep up, but I'm making some promotional key fobs for my four-wheel drive association, so my eyes are busy." That's alright. That's fine. You can just have us on in the background. Ba-ba-bum, we got Marcel in the house. How you doing? Nice to see you. Mike is overwhelmed with work, haven't hiked or camped in a while, just uploading old hikes these days. Oh, yeah, okay, you're uploading old hike videos. Do. Grace is feeling good. I love hearing that. That's good. That's nice. I'm okay. So I've been on like this huge decluttering campaign lately, and so yesterday I this huge box of like music stuff, and like I didn't even know what was in there. So it was like tonight is the music box, and like it's so full of junk that I don't even know why I still had like one drumstick from a pair kind of thing. Um, like an old multi-track recorder that didn't even work anymore. Cables upon cables upon cables for things that I don't even have anymore. So it was really good to sort of get rid of some of that stuff and keep turning this space down here, which you can't see. You have no idea how much tidier this area is, but it's crazy good. And so it's nice to be down here now, you know? It's nice to be down here. I still would really like to have a modern, no, that's not the word I was looking for. It's another M word. Mobile streaming setup so that I could, on nights like say Tuesday nights when I'm alone, I can maybe go up and make some drinks as we stream, kind of thing. But not just with my little phone because I feel that Tuesday nights has to be a nicer setup where I can actually read the side chat because I'm talking to you guys who are chatting in the side. So yeah, it'd be nice to have something like that. Grace says weather's hot but finally in low humidity, so it's not bad. I like that. I do not love humidity. Uh, Russell's been hanging. He's just dealing with dogs. I wish I had a dog or two. Wish I had two dogs. I sure do like dogs. I like cats too. I like the furry friends. Know what I'm saying? I do like them furry friends. Um, so yeah, I didn't set a topic for tonight because there was no time and I was too tired and I've been dealing with music and how many of you guys know who Robert Trujillo is? Um, for those of you who don't, he's the current bass player for Metallica, and he has a new acoustic electric signature bass out with Godin. Godin is a guitar company based here in Quebec. They have or they used to have a factory in New Hampshire, I think, where they sort of put the parts to some guitars together as a way of getting around the tax man in the States. I don't know if that's still there, but like the parts would be carved in here in Quebec and then sent down there to be constructed into finished instruments. Anyways, I just noticed today that he has a very expensive signature version of the Godin that I used to have. Part of me kind of really wants it. Not gonna buy it, but I really like it. And it's funny because like I'm not used to sort of seeing basses and like actively wanting them anymore because it took me some real effort to get down to having two. And I always think about stuff like this because it reminds me of my thoughts on being a collector and how I'm so collector averse these days. Like I don't want to, whenever I'm on Facebook, I think I've said this to you people before. If I'm boring you, well, you can say something, but I'm going to be so late on the chat that I'm not even going to notice. But I really do sort of want to, someone posts a picture of like a wall full of bases and sort of laughingly says, "My wife says I have a problem." Guys, this isn't a flex. It isn't. It's overconsumption, and I am saying that as a person who my wife calls an expensive bitch. I mean, I know that overconsumption. I am guilty of it. Why are you not working with me, fool? I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to fit this travel journal that I made in Alberta into this binder that is supposed to be made specifically for it, but I feel that it's taking my attention away from you good people, so I will swear at it later. Excuse me. Um, Hike Mike has 5 cats, but you really miss the basset hounds. I would not want 5 cats. I would like to have 2 male cats. I used to have 2 male cats, and before that, I had other cats and more cats. Um, yeah. Destiny says, "Well, now I have a collector's problem. Starting to buy too many lanterns. I blame David and that Marcus." It's good to have a couple of lanterns. You need to have a few lanterns, Destiny. You know, you can never have too many. That part is the problem. You can never have too many. Um, I feel that if okay, I could justify going back to having, like, 5 bases or, like, even more. If I had a base channel or, um, I could have more axes than I should really have, but, I mean, I consider myself to be someone that people can ask questions of, in which case I kinda need to have many different kinds of axes so that I know what I'm talking about. Is Jesse just justifying buying axes? It's possible. It's possible. I mean, anything is possible, right? Um, but you just get owned by your stuff, man. You just get owned by all your stuff. I'm so owned by my stuff. I mean, I'm working hard on off-gassing stuff all the time, but I really do feel owned by my crap. And not all this crap is any good, and that's the thing, you know? So I go through and like, "Why did I keep this?" Toss. "Why did I keep these?" Toss. And everything I toss makes me feel just a little freer, you know what I'm saying? Done. Done, done, done. But I was talking about something else before that, but Destiny said collections. Oh, blood bugger. I don't remember what I was talking about. But, yeah, Destiny, I wanna see some pictures of those lanterns. Destiny's asking Russell how the wood stove chimney situation is. Excuse me. Um, Marcel says, "I was bathing my 2 dogs just before this started. My Great Dane mix created a tidal wave. At least the bathroom floor is clean now too." Yikes. Yikes. I have not bathed a dog in my tub in years. I do miss having a dog, though. I would like to have a couple of dogs. Yeah, I think dogs make you I think the challenge of every person should be the person your dog thinks you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much pressure, man. They think I'm better than I really am. Christy's asking what my choice of whiskey is tonight. She's actually drinking scotch. Which scotch are you drinking, Christy? I brought the Franklin back because it's a 40% Franklin Origin, 67% barley, 33% rye. He said, I'm gonna double check that. Yeah, 67% malted barley, 33% rye. He said while translating it. So it's a slightly bourbony, high rye bourbony thing. I mean, not exactly because bourbon has different mash bill specifications, but I mean that's going to be on the bourbon side of things. The entire side chat just completely disappeared. There it is. Okay. Um, Marcel loves her dogs so much, loves her cats too, but it's a different kind of love. My dogs let me baby them. Yeah, cats and dogs love in different ways for sure. Absolutely. Mm. We're living in a good time for de-alcoholized beer. Like it used to always taste terrible, but sometimes at gigs we'll start with a Guinness Zero, and it's very convincing. The Guinness. So that doesn't suck. You can still get some really terrible options, but that one doesn't suck. Um, I love it. Country Boy says, "Oh, Stuart, it is a blend," says Christy. I got some killer blends. The one that my fiddler and I polished off this weekend, that was a blend. It was, from Compass Box. Country Boy says, "Tell your dogs I say hi. Who's a good dog? You're a good dog." Love that. Yeah. So I don't know, what do you guys wanna talk about? Who's got news? Who's got some news? Who's going to, oh, Mark says, "I had Guinness. I had Guinness 0 for the first time last week while I was out west. It didn't suck." No, it doesn't. It doesn't suck at all. You know, it's a good choice. Like, I'm really trying not to, not to sponge up too much booze, but, I mean, you know, it's nice to have a beer with you guys. This is a de-alcoholized, but it's still a beer. But, like, I've been really right, 2 gigging weekends in a row, that's some alcohol. Um, I kinda wanna create a band cocktail for my band. We all like whiskey, so it's gonna be a whiskey based, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a peated scotch to as a wash on the glass first, like the way you would do with absinthe, or maybe I'll use it in place of bitters or something, so I'm not sure, but there may be, a members live stream coming up where we figure out a recipe again. Oh, Marcella is out for the moment. That's fine. We will be, here when you get back. We'll be here when we get back. Um, what was I about to, oh, yeah, so, yeah, anyone got any cool news? Anyone, got anything they desperately want us to talk about tonight? Like knives or axes or tents, sleeping bags, their favorite hiking location, their favorite fire starting method. Anyone got anything like that? A little bushcrafty conversation to have for this guy who is absolutely aching to see the forest at any time this year. It's shite when it doesn't happen. I thought I heard something, but there's nothing. Um, oh, also, Wi-Fi is off. Has anyone detected any buffering? And and um, I called my uh, internet service provider and I bumped up the speed. So starting next month, um, the speed and the capacity is increased. So, because what I think has been happening is, um, you know, maybe Clem is watching something on the TV, okay, connected to the modem, and Cody has been talking to her friends on her phone, like FaceTiming while playing Roblox on her laptop, so modem. Excuse me, and the madame was probably watching something in bed, modem, and then I'm down here live streaming, which puts a large load on the modem because I'm live streaming in 1080p, and they're all watching stuff in 4K, like all of them. So I bumped up the service a little bit. We'll see if that changes anything. If not, like, if I bump it up too much, I have to get a new modem. I mean, there's everything's money, right? Anyways, whatevs. Disney wants to do knots. No, wait, who said? Mark. Knots and a good reference to learn to tie them from. Okay, we can talk about knots. I'm not I'm not prepped to do knots, but we can talk about them. Like, what we can do is talk about, um just one little second. Okay. Um, I got, but I don't know where it is. So let me look it up and I will show you. Show yous. Um, you guys remember Bear Outdoors? That was one of the buck saws that no, it's not Bear Outdoors. It's the Bear Essentials. One of those wooden buck saws that I reviewed back in the day. Um, there it is. So I'm gonna share his website because he don't do those saws anymore. It's weird, like how him and Jody from the other company, neither of them do the saws anymore. It's like the saws were too much work or some damn thing. So hold on, let me just share a screen with y'all. Yes, share intended EP. Will you please just work with me? Brave browser is accessing your screen. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't do no shifts. We're gonna show on stream. There we go. So wait. So oh, he's got an app. Hmm, okay. Um. So oh, he's still got. Yeah. See, his original bug saw sold out forever. He's got a couple of um, special limited edition ones. Okay. Oh, he's gone really hard into. This is not what I was expecting to find here, but interesting. So that's a tarp. Ah, here. Not tying kits. I think this is what I'm looking for. Yeah. So I bought this kit. Um, it comes with 2 pieces of cord for practicing with, and these cards are all the knots you can do with these 2 pieces of cord. This is not what I'm trying to do. No, we don't have to show the video, right? So you got a bow line, taut line, clove hitch, the Canadian jam knot. What is the other name? Is that the one that's also called an arbor knot? Double fisherman's bend. So I bought this. You don't have to buy this, right? You don't. I mean, this is like $50 or something. Wait, what is it? Oh, $40 now. Um, like, wait, wallet size card. I don't know what. Anyway, so I bought this because I thought I would just sort of do some practicing whenever I'm sitting anywhere, and I have no idea where it is. None. Um, why buy this instead of just taking a couple of pieces of cordage? Just because it's a nice carryable package. It used to come in a tin, might not anymore, but, practice ropes. Yeah, Bear Paw aluminum tin, yeah, just taking a look. So, um, what else is it? So he's got a Knot IQ app. Let's see what that. So it's fully 3D and interactive, designed for all skill. I wonder how much it costs. And there's no way it's gonna be. Oh, it's $7. Okay, that's not bad actually. Um, so okay, so everyone's saying, Christy says, "Are you trying to get out this fall for a weekend trip?" I would like to, but I don't see where I would be able to go. I don't see it happening. I mean, this entire year is just a write off. I'd like to do a little camping, especially because I've got um, vacation days that I have to use up. Just don't you have a knot kit down there? There's yeah, it's somewhere. I don't know where it is. Oh, I'm not shopping. I was just explaining like where I got the knot kit from, and no, you don't need a knot kit, right? You can just have two pieces of rope and like print out the knots that you want to practice. It's just portable. It all fits into a tin. I mean, if we're shopping, we're gonna look for knots. Let's shop, Jesse. Wait 1 minute. I present unto you my gig bag. This is my. It comes with me. Like this is all the cables and stuff I use in any given show. And it just had. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Why it was with all my music stuff, I have no idea. But I just sort of had this wait a minute thought pop into my head. Let's catch up with the Chittimer chat before we go any further. Hey, there's Beto. How you doing? How's it going, Mr. Beto? You having a good night down there? Everyone's saying hi, so I'm going to skip past that. There's Lee connecting to 5 versus 2.4 will increase. Oh yeah, um, this computer I have connected to my modem wired. I figured that at least I would remove myself from fighting for the Wi-Fi. But yeah, you're absolutely right. 5 is so much faster. I use 5 for my portable stuff for sure. Um, oh, Mark got an ad. So did Destiny. So Russell needs a chimney extension and a new cap. So you bought an extension for a 6-inch chimney and a cap for an 8-inch chimney. You actually have a 7-inch chimney. Considering how far you are from the store, um, anyway, I mean, you live and learn, I guess, right? Um, Destiny likes the Cabela's bag. That says Cabela's, not cables. Love it. In fact, I should really be practicing my knots a lot more than I do because it there's so long in between me doing knots that like I forget them by the time I get back to doing them. Every time I hit the woods or wood generally, um, I'm like, "Oh, how did I used to do that?" And so I thought that, having this little kit would mean I would always have it on me. So if I'm ever bored, I'll just practice some knots, completely forgetting that doom scrolling exists, right? So this is the credit card sized kit. They make one with a larger cards, but I don't know what else. This shows you where to use each knot, each of the knots that are on these cards. This is not a paid endorsement. Yeah, tripod lashing? Actually, that's one I don't know how to do at all. So simple. Shut up. There you got the famous bowline, or maybe it's bowline because you do those on ships. The square lashing. While I'm doing this, everyone write their favorite or what they consider to be the most useful knot that they know. Drop it in the side chat. What are we doing? The taut line hitch? That's a good one. I mean, it's of course, you gotta have a clove hitch, right? I do like the clove hitch. You can use it for all kinds of things, and of course, the Canadian jam knot, which is good for if you're trying to tie something to a pole or a post or something. Hold on. Destiny has an interesting question. Just curious, the price difference between a cord of hardwood and softer wood. I didn't even know that they would sell softwood in cords. Well, maybe in some areas, like in British Columbia, there's softwood everywhere, and there ain't a whole lot of hardwood. So maybe, maybe like in certain areas, maybe that's all you can get. Up north, maybe all you can get is softwood, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to have to clean that chimney after a winter of burning softwoods, but yeah, I don't know. Jim, howdy y'all, CN30. All right, safe drive. Grace said, my recommendation: pick your favorite knots with different uses, maybe 5 or 6. If that cinches, it's just a solid, not moving knot, etc. Yeah, yeah. And she goes on to say, if you try to remember too many, it's easy to get confused, especially if you don't practice or use them a lot. Which is my problem. Like I don't get to use them very often at all. Um, on years like this, especially. So by the time I'm back in the woods, I'm like, oh my god, how did I do this? And I mess it up completely all the time. Lee's asking, what are the 3 main go-to knots that will cover all situations? So that's like you need one that's good for lashing two other cords, right? You need something that's good for lashing around a tree or around a stick. You need something that you can tighten, right? That one would probably be a trucker's hitch, right? Right? I mean, that's an easy go-to. I found that the Canadian Jam, which I think is also called the Arbor knot in the States, um, that's good when you're when you're tying something to a pole or a post or something. Um, I'm trying to remember the name of the one I use for my tarp setup. That I put a cable, a cord between 2 trees, and then I put this knot. Sorry, because you can move it along, you can tighten it, you can cinch it, and then I do not remember what the hell it's called. I don't remember what it's called. I kinda wanna go and check out my tarp setup video that I did a few years ago, um, because I have it in there, but I'm not gonna go watching a video while you guys are hanging with us. But what do you guys think are the best sort of 3 main go-to knots? I also, by the way, agree with Grace that if you memorize 3 or 4 or 5 solid choices, um, that cover different aspects of not making, I guess, whatever, different contexts, then you're fine. You don't need to learn 300 knots, especially because there's all kinds of stuff that is very specific to, whatever, fishing and stuff that I'm not gonna need to know. But it would be nice to know how to do a three-pole lash, you know? Um, Grace likes taut line hitch. Yeah, it's useful. And bowline, yeah, another solid classic. Hey, Dauber's here. Oh, hey, Dauber. We're talking about something that you will likely have a lot of knowledge in. We're trying to come up with what are 3 um, knots that are whatever the hell polyvalent is in English, multi multi-use, I guess. 3 knots that will cover the widest range of uses that you might come up with in the woods. Let's say you're not on a canoe trip, if that simplifies things. You're just sort of in the woods, got a camp, got a tent or a tarp or something, or maybe a hammock. Oh, and Dauber is doing the God's good works by saying that there are 19 people here and only 8 thumbs ups. What the hell? Well, you people gotta hurt my feelings. Dauber says he just learned a new not this week. You've used it before, but didn't learn it. Fixed that yesterday. It's the perfection loop. Is that a real thing? Or are you just being a brat? Because you've done both of those things before. The perfection loop knot. It's a fishing knot? Let me share the screen. Share the screen. I will show you people. Share. Come on, fool. Show on screen. So here's the perfection loop. Ready? And go. And go. Okay. All right, here we go. And there's step 1, go. Step 2, step 3, step 4. Taking a bite. Form a loop in the end of the line. Form a second loop and lay it on top of the first with the tag end under the standing end. Okay. Pass the tag and between the 2 loops. Pull the top loop through the bottom loop. Lubricate and tighten by pulling on the standing end and the loop. Trim the end. So what do you use it for? What do you use it for, Mr. Dava? Mr. Dava? What you using that for? Country Boy says that a quart of seasoned fir, that's going to be a softwood, here on the wet coast is around $400. If it's seasoned, it doesn't do your chimney dirty. Really? Okay, I did not know that. I thought that even seasoned it would. I mean, it burns up fast. That's the thing. Like if I'm heating with wood, I want it to be like maple and oak and beech and stuff like that. Um, Destiny. Yeah, but okay, if you're getting quotes for around 520, is that for hardwood though? Marcel's back. Marcel, top 3 knots. Go. Prusik. Yes, I was trying to remember that. That's what I like. Yeah, I like a Prusik for sure. Right now, though, if you asked me to make one for you, I wouldn't. I don't remember them. I don't use them enough. You know. Um, I think I've also used the Alpine Butterfly in certain contexts with with my tarp, but I don't remember what that context was. Um, Delbert says he has about 8 to 10 core knots. Clove hitch, yeah, good one. Half hitch, right? Taut line, yeah. Truckers. Truckers is good for if you want to tighten stuff up. Marlin spike. I wonder what you use that for. Bow line, yeah. Lark's head, nice, and the prusik for sure. Yeah, and you probably could just whip all those into shape right now because you actually keep heading out into the woods and keeping your skills nice and fresh, whereas I have not. Andrew was saying, well, if it was red oak, that would be a good price, but not for fur. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so use the perfection loop at the end of your guidelines and ridge line, etc. Okay, maybe I should look into that for myself as well. Ah, Dauber's actually answering the question I've asked. Okay, 3 to 4 most used: taut line, trucker's hitch, and marlin spike. These are my hammock and tarp knots. Okay. I mean, you got to keep that hammock and tarp off the ground, right? So, so I'm trying to figure out. So you're doing a trucker's hitch for the ridge line of your tarp, and I'm trying to right, um, and then you hang in the hammock with the taut line. The problem is I don't know what the marlin spike is. So like I'm not entirely sure where that fits in. Kendra says seasoned fur is pretty hard. Fireplace insert with proper airflow can control it burns pretty long and clean. I did not know that. Marcel doesn't know how to tie anything other than a basic little knot. That's all right. You're gonna learn some stuff here. Christy says I can tie my shoes. That's about it. All right. Christy. Marcel's bringing. She's bringing the attitude now. She can double tie her shoes. Russell doesn't name his knots. Don't want them getting familiar. Okay. Yes, so I'm right. Trucker's hitch is the tarp ridge line. Hammock gets hung with the marlin spike hitch, and taut line is for your guy lines. Okay, I can see the taut line for your guy lines. I gotta figure out what the hell a marlin spike hitch is. I'm gonna look that shift up. Marlin spike. Marlin spike hitch. I shall now show it upon the screen. The hell? Make a loop. Tuck a bite from the standing end through. Place the loop over the pole and tighten it with a second rope. Tie the same. Okay, so this is okay. They're making like a sailing ladder or something. But so that's just another. Yeah. So the marlin spike is that single knot there. Um, Country boy says Scotch jam nut, round and round, over, under, and through. Kick it and grab a beer. Everything's good. That sounds like my knot making. Mark says, I was taught to tie my shoes by a left-handed cousin while sitting facing her, a mirror image. I have never recovered. Fair enough as well. I was late in learning to tie my shoes. Very late. So when Clemence just tied her shoes, at the ripe old age of whatever she is, 6.5. She's 6.5 right now. I was heavily impressed. And she does it differently than I do. She does you make 2 loops and you tie them. Um, Adora says, "No, I only use one in the center of a toggle." Yeah, I mean, they're there. It doesn't really make sense, but you can see, like, you do one of those, and the loop at the end of your hammock goes over the toggle. I need to see that. I'm very bad with non-visual information. So you make one of those in the center of a toggle, right? So you've got a toggle with that in the middle, and then the loop at the end of your hammock just goes over the toggle, and that's how you attach it to the tree. Um, Marcel says, "I live in Birkenstocks and Crocs. I wore some cute tennies for the first time in months today." Dauber's looking for a photo. Okay, cool. Jim is bowling a figure not as a stopper and a properly blade cleat. Um, Lee says, "What bushcraft skills and gear should a newbie prioritize in preparation for the coming struggle?" So I'm going to say that I imagine you live somewhere in the lower 48. Um, yeah, I don't know what about there's a certain amount of skills for this struggle that I'm not going to talk about on the live stream, but um, look, knowing how to start a fire with something other than a light or a match is always going to do you well, whether you're on the land or you're just enjoying the great outdoors. Um, I my favorite is just a flint and steel kit with a little bit of char cloth. Uh, the ferrocerium rod is more of a sure thing, though, if you really gotta get a fire lit. I did not bring any of this stuff out of storage to talk to you guys about, but, sound off, people. Those of you who like to create fires in the old-fashioned way, do you prefer the ferro rod or do you prefer the flint and steel? And would you agree with me that the flint and steel is going to be the less surefire method? Surefire? Oh, Jess, that's terrible. Like, what I mean by that, "Oh, my land, it's 21:59." Christy, I hit the woods because I love being in the woods. I don't like being in the city. I hate 90-degree angles, straight lines. I wanna smell the I wanna smell firs and pines and petrichor. So for me, being in the outdoors is about enjoyment. Um, I do know a great many people that is an energetic pour. It's okay. The beer was 0%, it's 0.5%, 0.5, 0.05, whatever. Who cares? Moving right along. But if you're looking for hitting the woods to survive the Civil War or whatever, that, let's face it, is probably coming. Um, Anything that's a sure thing will do you better than anything that Jesse finds fun while while camping in the woods, right? So, whereas I think it's absolutely vital for anyone who spends time in the outdoors to have a non-lighter or matches method of starting a fire. You still wanna have some storm-proof matches on your person just in case. Um, for the same reason, people, let's okay, I like Lee's question, even though I have a no politics rule here. Let's take the question at face value. What are good things for a newbie to learn to be successful in the woods? That will be a good starting place for the second part of his question, which as a Canadian, I don't really feel like I should be commenting on. Um, but, you guys can talk about that offline. But let's just with the second part of his question in mind, method for fire starting, right? So, maybe if you're a ferro rod, maybe, um, like, maybe one of those cheap ferro rods that comes with, like, a magnesium block, right? You can shave off some magnesium first. Um, I would say have some like a little packet or a baggie or whatever with either I don't know if you're a big woodworker, Lee, but if you're anyone who uses a hand plane against wood, or um, you carve or anything like that, you're gonna have some wood shavings that are good and dry. You wanna keep those in an airtight bag, or or in fact, you should probably have both. Something like either some fluffed up cedar bark, or even better, some birch bark that with your knife you can sort of scrape one side until you have a little pile of dust that'll light, and uh, birch bark burns long enough to really get a good fire going if you've um, put it together properly. For your campfire, if you're not hiding, right? If you're just getting away from everything and enjoying being by yourself, um, there are many, many different kinds of campfire. I would suggest if you're gonna sleep at that next to that campfire, try to do an upside down fire. So what's an upside down fire? Well, it's one that starts you put your largest, logs on the bottom, and smaller and smaller until you've got just tinder, right? You've got big honking logs, smaller, 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 tinder and kindling at the top in order. You start the fire on the top, okay? And as it burns, can you guys still hear me? That was really weird. Whatever. Um, as the fire burns, the cinders and the burning embers, embers is what I was looking for. The OGs here know that I don't necessarily live in English, okay? So just always bear with me here. As they fall on the next layer down, that layer catches. But here's the thing: these fires tend to burn quite clean. They burn all the way up, and they last a long time. My second video of all time, one or two of you have gone back to my earlier stuff. My very first video was a flint and steel kit. I believe my second one was an upside down fire, and I still stand by that second video. I think I did a solid job on it, and it burned forever. But for the smallest parts, your tinder and your kindling, if you can get away with doing the kindling as well, bring that along, because then you know that you've got dry materials for starting a fire with. So, like, if it's raining out, you're not huddling in the rain and trying to take some standing dead sticks and, like, whittle off the wet parts so that you can get a fire started, you know? Because the part that we're not dealing with is the part where you need to get a fire lit for warmth maybe, rather than, "I'm communing with nature. Oh, it's taken me an hour to get the fire started, but I've got a little burning." No, no, you need to get a fire started. So, cheat, right? Bring what you can. Um, you can make all kinds of, like, very portable tinders, like, Vaseline, um, Vaseline, dipped cotton balls and stuff. Oh, hold on. Let me actually just see what other people are saying because I feel like I'm hogging the conversation. But the thing is, now I'm interested, right? Russell has never used flint and steel. I knew that about you. Christy said poor at yeah, a minute too. So you said it just as I noticed what time it was. Mike says word of the day, petrichor. You guys, okay? Does everyone know? Whew, wow, I'm glitching a lot here, people. Sorry, but my latest meds update has really made me jittery, and I glitch all the time. Um, everyone knows what petrichor is, right? It's the that wet, loamy smell of the great outdoors after a rainfall. Country Boy's always got several lighters around, but you have a ferro rod as backup. Okay, so you like to start with the lighter and use the ferro rod if it's too wet out, I guess? Fun fact, those little lighters, even if they're empty, you can use them as a tiny flint and steel, like, over some, um, case a char cloth, you know, and if you do it well enough and just keep at it, you can get a spark on the char cloth to start a fire. So, fun? No. Enjoyment of the great outdoors? No. Nothing else is working, and you just need to get a fire started? If the lighter is empty, it's still useful. Yeah, so Destiny knows. Lovely smell. Also, the smell of thunderstorms. I agree with that for sure. I love the sound and the smell of thunderstorms. Um, Destiny says the Russian hacker guy had such a great fire starter. I'm not sure his name was so easy for us awkward. I have no idea who that is. Ah, cotton balls with Vaseline in a tin. Yes, absolutely, Christy. Yeah. Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, it was weird. I got this notice that my microphone had changed, but actually, how does it sound? Anyways, excuse me. Oh, come on. Sorry, says. Destiny says, yeah, sound is fine. Okay. All right. Destiny says, I don't necessarily live in English. Second quotable quote of the line. Well, the thing is, I don't, right? I live with a straight up francophone um, um, partner and two absolutely bilingual kids. So, I mean, we speak sort of a language in this household of English and French and like the local throat disease, which is a mix of the two. Um, Jim just got home and said, "Belayed cleat." I meant delayed cleat. I've seen so many nightmare cleats in the harbor. Yeah. Um, oops. Stop, Taranouche. Yeah, having a good cleat is important when you're sailing. I haven't been sailing in. Oh, Jim just got an ad. Haven't been sailing yet this year either. Oh my word, belayed cleat. Delayed cleat, right? Okay, I totally didn't even miss that. I mean, I totally missed that. Christy says, "Grab a beer, Jim. It's much needed after work." Let's see. Paul's sending me photos. The Marlins. Oh, Mr. Dauber. I see what you're talking about. That looks like a pretty solid. I didn't even think to try that. My hammock is a Hennessy, and it comes with like these cords and stuff, and this whole system. But I never even thought to just do that. Destiny deeply appreciate those teachers who presented simple, easy ways to do things. Once learned, a person can go more complicated if necessary or wanted. That is true. Okay, everyone's got an ad. I do not. Everyone except Russell because he has premium for Tab or noosh. There it is. Country Boy says, English is my only language and I don't necessarily live in it. Fair enough. Yeah, I saw the image. Um, yeah, there's that Marlin spike. So yeah, you only use one of them, whereas that thing was showing how to do like a step ladder. I never learned that knot, but now I shall. Destiny was saying, I was expecting Jess to say, I don't live in English, I live in holographic images and sound vibrations. I do not know what that means, but that's weird. Um, so where were we? Oh, hold on. Lee lives in a major city center in a high-rise building. I have no vehicle for the bugging out. I have a mountain bike with panniers, which carry limited gear. Bug out or bug in? Okay, so I would bug in because I know my environment. I live on an island, so how far can I bug before I have to cross a bridge that may have gajillions of people on it? Any of the bridges? Like, our bridge is a danger spot in any kind of situation where you're bugging out? Like, I would say if you're gonna bug out, a mountain bike with panniers is a good thing to have because cars are gonna snarl up the streets. If you're on a bike, right? Um, just go, right? Get the hell across the bridge first thing, because if you don't get across first thing, forget it. They're gonna be crowded, full of panicked people, um, trying to steal each other's stuff, right? I'm still thinking about your fire kit. A fire kit's gonna be really, really important. If you are I wanted to say, if you're hiding, then you wanna build something called a Dakota fire pit, which I don't know how to do. It was sort of I was wildly optimistic about this year, and I was like, "This is the year I learned to do the Dakota fire pit." I didn't even hit the damn woods. Um, so Dauber says shelter, fire, water, sanitation, and camp cooking. So those are how Dauber would, those are the priorities, that Dauber has identified. Um, and one thing I do know about Dauber is he knows his shift. Um, shelter, fire, water, sanitation, and camp cooking. No notes. I can't find any flaws with that logic. Like camp cooking to me means a pot, maybe some rations, right? Um, water sanitation, so you're not carrying your water with you, right? Because water gets heavy. This is why hikers and weight weenies, freeze dry their meals and then just hydrate them with filtered water. Um, Russell says, "How old were the kids before they distinguished that there were two languages being spoken and didn't mix?" That comes late for kids that are brought up bilingual for sure. They start speaking later, then they make sense later. Um, and yeah, they do, unless the parents are absolutely rock solid with daddy, in our case, only speaks to the kids in English and mommy only speaks to the kids in French. That was much, much easier with Cody, because there were only 2 of us, and then there was her. So, like, her bilingualism is A, flawless, and B, without hesitation. Like, she can be halfway through a thought talking to me and switch to her mom and just switch languages sort of in the ether between us. Um, with Clem, uh, she mixes up a lot more because there wasn't that clean delineation between the 2. Like, the kids play together in French and give each other hell in English kind of thing, but for Clem, there was a lot more sort of mixing and matching, for much longer. I think she was about I think she was kicking on 6 when she stopped doing that, maybe 5. Oh, Jim says ferro rod is my first. Grandkids even use it, prefer it. Camille can use a ferro rod quite well. Um, her flint and steel is not good. I mean, we haven't been practicing, right? Oh, did I say tabarnouche? For those of you who don't know, tabarnouche is like um, taking the impact out of the absolute worst swear word in the Quebec language. The absolute worst. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what its analog would be in English. Like, excuse me. You know when I say something like "what the funk," um, like it might be something like that, or like saying "shizzle" instead of "shit" kind of thing. But the word that tabarnouche lightens up is much, much worse than shit. It's the Quebecois version of the F word for sure. Dauber says fire styles and their uses is a solid outdoor skill. Upside down fires and efficient and great for the heat, not so much for cooking because there's no way to manage the heat. Yeah. So when I cook over an upside down fire, I do have to be a lot more careful with placement. Like sometimes I'll put something just off to the side, depending on how hot that fire is burning and how high it is. Because um, I have just sort of slapped my pan down on it directly before, for sure. But I sort of see an upside down fire as something you want to be burning good and long, just so that you can be warm. You know. Or if you're cooking just like you're putting sausages or bannock, wrapping bannock around a steak or putting sausages on a stick and holding it over the fire kind of thing, rather than trying to come up with a contraption like with tripods and stuff. It just seems a lot more awkward. Dauber says I should do a survey. What should we put in the survey, Dauber? Oh, oh, I see what you're talking about. All right. All right. Let's do a little survey. Let's try to remember how to do a survey. Start a poll. Wow. YouTube. So in this engage with your audience menu, I have start a QA, start a poll, and then it used to be like close. Now is start a QA, start a poll, members only live stream. So I can just hit that and suddenly boom, it's members only. That'd be a really shifty thing to do. Okay, ask a question, optional. Favorite, fire, starting, tools, tool, method. Let's call it method, right? Methods. God with the typos. Damn you, dyspraxia. Fire starting. Yeah. We're gonna call this ferro rod. We're gonna call this flint and steel, also called a fire steel. Some people call the ferro rod a fire steel. That is absolutely false. Let me add an option. Oh, I almost matches. Lighter. Oh no. Okay, matches slash lighter, and then I'll make the other one. Um, hand or bow drill or fire plow, etc. Bam. Let's leave that poll up for a good 10 minutes or so, and we'll see what the peoples are saying. We got 16 people kicking back with us. Does anyone check how many thumbs ups we have? Oh, look, I've got a glass of whiskey. Uh, Russell hopes one day to whack two rods together and see a spark. Lee, yeah, if you have a small inflatable rowboat, yeah, why not? I mean, the scenario you're thinking about, um, I think that a bridge would be, unless you're like out out like a shot. Um, by the time most people will have their stuff together, the bridges will be completely unsafe. The longer the rod, the brighter the spark, says Russell. What are you talking about? Country Boy says Dakota fire pit is soil dependent. Yeah, well, you need to have, like, you're not gonna be able to do it in a sand pit, right? Like, or something arid. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do it in the Okanagan. Well, at least not in the part of the Okanagan where, like, my dad lives down around Penticton, down to Oliver and Osuyus. I mean, that's sandy, sandy territory, right? For a Dakota fire pit, you need to be able to dig holes that will not sort of just collapse. Well, we're down to 15 people. Am I pissing people off with my fire talk? Um, Destiny's great aunt ran out of Europe with the dining room table on her back. Oh my god, what? The dining room table? That's a comical visual, although, running out of Europe, considering what that might mean, it's a terrible thing to think of anything comical around that, but geez, with a table on your back, holy crap. I mean, that's some strength. Russell says somehow Tabarnouche seems worse than Tabarnak. It's not. It's a lighter version. Outdoor Dauber says, knowing how to cook over coals or fire, knowing when to use each. I have boiled, fried, broiled, baked, and sautéed over a campfire. Yeah, and there are certain cooking methods you can use while it's still got flames, but I like to wait until it's gone down to embers, embers. Like when it's not flaming anymore, but it's like those red sort of pieces. I feel that is the best method for me, for sure. Um, but like, so if oh, Destiny says, yeah, she used the table for shelter and the legs for fire the first night. Okay, all right, good thinking then. Very, very, very impressive. So if we got the fire kit squared away. Well, do we have the fire kit squared away? Am I forgetting something? I said to have some dry tinder along. We gave some suggestions. Maybe like a pocket bellows or something. You sort of extend it and you can blow right into where you need to. Maybe something like that. You know, as I said, anything that will help to guarantee a successful fire lay. So if this is a bug out bag disguised as a bushcraft bag, what else are you gonna need? You're gonna need a knife. You may need an axe, but you definitely need a knife, like a belt knife. No, a belt knife is ideal. Any freaking bladed object, like if this is all you have, right? If this is all you have, then that's your best knife, right? Because that's what it is. Your best knife is the one you have. If that's what you have, you can still use it. You can still cut cables, cut cordage. You can still uh, scratch. a ferro rod, if you don't have a striker, you need a bladed object. There's just too much cutting that must be done, either cords or food or wood, scraping, um, birch bark into birch bark dust so that it'll catch a spark. You need a bladed object. A belt knife is ideal, but anything. Do you need an axe? Maybe, maybe not. What like, if you're trying to go for extreme portability, because you know, you're hitting the bushcrafts with alacrity because your neighbors are all, you know, suddenly killing each other or whatever, um, portability is key, right? Um, does an axe reduce the portability of the kit, make it, one more thing to grab and go? In that case, like a silky saw, or, what's the non-Japanese version of a silky saw again? What's that thing called? Um 'Cause I love the silky, because you cut on the pull, the control you get from that is crazy, and Japanese saws, right? It's sharp as hell, but it's not sharpenable, and a lot of people here, because 'cause they're used to European saws that cut on the push instead of the pull, will snap the end off that silky. If you are thinking about you might be in the woods under stressful circumstances, nothing that you can't just use, nothing you have to think twice about. So, and if you don't use, like, a dozuki all the time or something, forget the Japanese, forget the silky saw. Get whatever that other one is called. Is it a Laplander? Is that what it's called? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? The, bow, Tabarnouche. I don't remember what it's called. Hold on. Oh, and then she rigged the table into a makeshift sled to collect supplies. Okay. That's actually no, that's really smart. A balloon for bellows. Hadn't even thought about that. Edward Dauber says, "Yeah, cooking food on a stick over an upside down fire works." I think that's how I do it if I'm using an upside down fire. Or like, no, I have done that. I haven't decided that that is the one way I'm ever gonna do it, but that did work for me quite well. Hey, Carol's here. How you doing? Whoops. Oh, Dauber just clarified that he got a survey instead of an ad, which paused the live stream. Okay, sorry. Well, I mean, we started the poll now because that's what I thought you were asking about. Edward Dauber, in order, flint and steel, matches, lighter, and ferro rod. So if I was to do my my top list in order, it would be flint and steel, ferro rod, matches, and then lighter. To me, the lighter is the bottom choice. That's the one that, like, I use if nothing else is working. And look, sometimes I do end up not being able to use the flint and steel or the ferro rod to get a successful fire. I'm not happy about it, but, you know? Trucker made it to Flagstaff, where it's a beautiful 60 degrees, uh, American or 15 degrees Canadian. So it's about, I don't know what it is right now. The high today was 18, so what would that be, like, 62 or 60 something? The low 60s? I mean, I still wore shorts and a t-shirt, but, um, right now it's 10 degrees Canadian. So it's chillier. I like now I would have a sweater on if I went outside. Hey, look what Carol just did. She became a member. Nice. She became a scout. Thanks, Carol. That's crazy good. Christy's very jealous of Peanut Trucker. When you left here, you were at 97, right? So 97 would be in the what, low to mid 20s? Just everyone's just really saying hi to Chris. Edward Albert says to Destiny, "You're great. I was a survivor for sure." Yeah. Kitchen table on her back? Yep. Excuse me. Well, Carol, I mean, it looks like it is possible. It looks, I mean, you're renewed, right? It's calling you a scout. So I think you're good. You're good to go. Russell says I should have qualified my poll. Where are we starting this fire? Under what conditions? If I'm starting the fire in my wood stove, I've got 5 lighters handy. You know what? I even use flint and steel when I'm using a wood stove. I like it. I use flint and steel, or if I'm doing a barbecue, and I use like wood and tinder and then kindling and stuff, and then large lump charcoal to once it gets started. So to me, fire is fire. But like you're not gonna try to use matches under the rain, right? I mean, maybe stormproof, but even then, the stormproof just means that they don't get waterlogged. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna, in the pouring rain and get a fire going. Yeah, sorry, it just jumped, so I'm trying to find where the hell we were. Whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the bottom. Chris says it was hot down here, loading for sure. Okay, so I think we got fire stuff squared away for Lee. What the nice thing about having a camping hammock instead of a tent that you pitch on the ground is it kind of doesn't matter if the ground is really wet because you're hanging from trees, right? If you put up a tarp above it, which let's face it, you got to put a tarp above your hammock unless you're in a very arid environment. Um, that's what I would pack. They take up a fairly small amount of room. Tarp, have something to put under you though. I mean, which is true of a tent as well. Like, um, a good wool blanket on top of you, some kind of sleeping pad under you, you're good to go. You're not gonna worry uh, if rain turns the campsite around you into a mud pit, and you're not worrying about water seeping in across the floor of your tent, right? So that's how I would go. Dauber, what do you think? Well, you use a you use a hammock sometimes too. What are your thoughts if this kit is for bushcraft camping and also sort of a just in case thing? Deborah says, "Corona saw." I do not know which saw is the Corona. I mean, I'm not saying to get that, the Bob Destrude or the Boreal 21. What I think I'm getting the feeling that we're sort of trying to keep things as compact as possible. Oh, Corona, okay. No, it's not what I was thinking of. I mean, they're pretty solid too, but I was thinking about what the hell's it called? Is it called the Laplander? Yes. Yes, I was thinking about the Baco Laplander. That's sort of like that's the big name foldable saw. Christy's reminding me to stop the poll. Stop that poll. Stop that poll. Boom. So blah, blah, oh my god, what are our answers? Stop glitching. Favorite fire starting method? 82% of you said matches or lighter. Flint and steel is 12%. 6% is ferro rod. And nobody uses a hand drill or a bow drill or a fire plow. Okay, good to know. Hmm. That kind of went the way I was expecting it to. Like I wasn't expecting this to be a big fire plow crowd first of all. or bow drill or anything like that. Steve Grounds likes a blowtorch. Um, okay. I might be tempted to use like a kitchen torch, like one of those little kitchen blow torches that you use to do the top of like a crème brûlée or something. I should get a backhoe Laplander just to sort of do an A/B video of like Silky versus backhoe Laplander. See if either of them are actually better than the other, or if it really is just sort of a personal preference thing. I should remember that and then do it. And get a brand new blade for my Silky. Get a brand new backhoe Laplander. I wonder how much they cost though. Don't want to spend too much money. Try not to spend too much. Um, Darby says lighter is convenient. Doesn't have any soul, but when I want to fire and I want it now, I reach in my pocket, in my front left pocket. But yeah, that's what I was sort of saying. That you know, it's all great to be enjoying the great outdoors and you know, snapping your fires together with um, like primitive methods and everything. But like, if you're starting to get cold and you're hungry and the sun's going down, you just need a fire starter, right? That's where the joy of excuse me, the joy of feeling like a primeval human, slamming, iron pyrite together to no, forget it. You just need to get the damn fire started. Hey, Charles and Annie are here. How are you doing? How are you guys doing? How are things down in the Philippines? Jim says my son uses a giant blowtorch, the kind force you use on controlled burns, but he needs a lighter to start it. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those before. I've never used one. I kind of feel that that's. I look. If you need a fire started, you need a fire started. You know what I'm saying? It seems weird to have a like that. You need a lighter to start your blowtorch. So like, you would think that they would figure out like what's it piezo or like electric fire starter, spark, yeah, or something. Even you guys remember like you turn the gas on your Bunsen burner, and then you've got this kind of it's kind of a ferro rod in fact, right? You got a little flint inside a cup with a some sort of an abrasive end on it, and you sort of hold it, and the flint goes across and creates sparks, and you light your Bunsen burner. You guys remember that? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Or you mean the lighter on the long one? Oh, my land is 10:39. But so, what do you guys think about shelter for Lee's context? Because another thing you can do is just have some kind of very robust tarp, by which I mean, like, I mean a dollar store blue plastic tarp. I don't mean an expensive, like, Hennessy or whatever. Just a basic ass tarp that you can put a lean-to together, right? Find 2 trees, put a pole of yay thickness-ish, whatever, standing deadwood across, lash them, and then put some other poles leaning against that you're gonna crawl under to sleep, and then you put that blue ugly ass tarp across, lash it down, and then you cover that with boughs of trees or leaves or whatever. Because as I said, you're just making things that work. And a lean-to means you're not really carrying anything except some kind of cableage. Cableage? No, I'm not using the proper word. Cordage, right? To lash that sapling across those 2 trees, and maybe lash the thin logs that you're leaning up against that cross piece. Big blue tarp. Yeah, it might make some noise when you're setting it up, but if you tie it tight enough, it's not gonna be, like, making that crinkling sound in the wind or anything. Might make a bit of it, but if you get it tight enough, why are you using the tarp instead of just the boughs? To keep the rain off, to keep the ice off, to keep drips from making your life miserable while you're sleeping under that. Um, Look, a lot of people will bring a tent. So, but a tent is at the mercy of the ground getting inundated or whatever, right? Hold on. Chrissy said time for one more gram, which I did pour. He has to lug around a 20-pound propane tank with it. Nope, that's not worth it to me. Charles and Annie had a 7.0 earthquake. No power or water for a while. Russell's asking me the important questions, and I am too. Did that cause a tsunami? Raven says, I used to have a 10 by 10 blue tarp under my back seat, but someone borrowed it. I need a replacement. Yeah, you need to have a tarp in your vehicle. You do need to have a tarp in your vehicle for sure. They're just for any context. I have one that I keep in my vehicle so that when I run Eco Center, which I guess is a 21st century version of the dump, like you bring in, so you have bags of leaves or garden clippings. You also have a bunch of plastic things, something steel, some tiles, and then tiles go in crates or in one, leaves and grass cuttings two kind of thing. Uh, I keep a tarp in the car because what I do is unfold the tarp so that all the stuff I'm laying in there doesn't mess up the actual surface of the vehicle. So, these things are useful for everything. So yeah, get yourself another 10 by 10 blue tarp. You guys all got ads? Everything just jumped, for God's sakes. Hold on. Okay, I think I found where we were. Nope, I did not. Shite. Hold on. Dauber says, I'm a big hammock fan. Don't need to worry about wet ground, uneven ground, rocks, roots, etc. Absolutely. I I absolutely agree for sure. Charles and Annie are fine, still having aftershocks once in a while. Luckily, no tsunami. That's good to know. Jess, are these live streams the only way you're maintaining your 4,000 hours for monetization? I haven't even thought about that. I have no idea. I'll look that up when we're done here. I mean, there's certain of my videos that are still getting a lot of views. I'm not looking this up right now, but um, I mean, look, I definitely want to get back into actually producing videos for sure. It's just tough to have a, a bushcraft channel when I don't have the opportunity to hit the woods for like a full on year, a solid year. Also, I've been massively burnt out for a year. I'm trying to get back to it, but it's hard work. It's hard work, but I still want to produce content. I still want to produce content. Maybe I should go back to making some not videos in the meantime, actually. Those were useful. I didn't like the way I filmed them. I need to be able to, like, close up. Here's me tying a knot with a magical name that I cannot pronounce. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if these are the only way I'm maintaining those for that hour. Destiny says, Kim going, I'm hopping into the tub. Talk loud. Great. Okay, I'll talk loud. Destiny, just bring the phone with you. You can listen. It's because Destiny lives in a different time zone than I do. So her jumping into the tub right now is not like super late at night. I think I should do that video, sort of an A/B, the Baco Laplander against the Silky. I think that would be really cool because, like, those are the 2, um, those are the 2 big bushcraft folding saws, not including things like buck saws, right? That Silky is everywhere, that, that Laplander is everywhere, and then maybe I would like to do, an A/B of the Distrude saw versus the Boreal 21. That'd be cool too. Um, I mean, I don't wanna start making plans that I can't afford to keep, but, these are things that I think would be cool. Um, Jim says, "I just bought 2 pairs of merino wool socks at an estate sale. Should I be creeped out wearing a dead guy's socks? No, just wash them first." Are you kidding? I would take merino any way I could get it. Estate sale or no. I mean, that's just the way you gotta do it sometimes. As Country Boy says, "Why be creeped out, Jim? He doesn't need them anymore." Look, some people do get creeped out about dead people for sure, and I get that. I get that for sure. Um, but at the end of the day, Country Boy is right. He doesn't need them anymore. And if you got them at an estate sale, you probably didn't spend anywhere near what it would cost to buy them at like Iceberg or a place like that. I say wash them and wear them. Absolutely. Crumbs, $1 a pair. Holy snap! Yeah, I'd buy those. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Susie Q had a stroke. Couldn't type, but I wanted you to know I was there, so I typed in whatever. Well, first of all, that's hellish news. I'm sorry to hear about that. Um, okay, so here's something that that some of us do when we're just listening into someone's live stream, um, and we're doing something else. So we're not really in the side chat, but we want them to know that we're still here. Is just do what I'm about to do. Boom. See, I just posted like a dot. Just post a dot, and I'll know you're here. You can do it every half hour or something to let me know that you're still here, right? I mean, if the object was to let me know that you're here. Well, first of all, thank you for being here after a stroke. Um, I very much hope that you're going to be able to recover well. Just put a dot. I'll know you're here. I know what a dot means. Oh, it's such dismal news. Jim. Jim is here. He's busy, but I know he's here. It's 22:51. We have 9 minutes left, so maybe I'll just do a very small dram, and then after that, I will go up and clean the kitchen, get my kids' lunches ready for the morrow. Yeah, because you says, "You're always here, Jim." Yeah, a stroke is nothing to joke about. That's for damn sure. I mean, they've been. I've known a couple of people who've had them, and what a chore! Like just trying to get back to who they were. Was just, I mean, sometimes you can't, but most no. I don't want to say that. Sometimes you can't easily get back to where you were. Oh, oh no, Dauber's dozing off. Okay, good night, Mister. Everyone say goodbye to the Daub. Excuse me. You know, bowing out with 8 minutes left seems a little weird to me, but that's okay. I bruise easily, but I heal fast. Excuse me. Christy says, oh yeah, excuse me. Gosh, stop with the burping. Raven says, Jim says, sometimes I'm just listening while driving or voice to text. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Um, Christy says, just an FYI, I most likely will not be here next week. She's saying to Destiny, going on vacation. I said this earlier, but you are not on yet. I hope you're gonna have a good vacation. Excuse me. So tired. So much begging for sleep. You know what I haven't done in a long ass time is played a damn video game. By the time I sit down at this, by the time I sit down at this computer, it's like, so I haven't played any damn games in forever. At one point, video games were one of my joys. Country Boy says, Voices X, that's where the Audi came from. Yes, it is, if I remember correctly. Jim says yes. Yeah. And then Destiny says, okay, Kristen, I'll miss you. Enjoy the vacay. Yeah, yeah, absolutely enjoy the vacay. I hear stomping feet upstairs. That's got to be the eldest daughter. She stomps in a very signature way. Um, there you go. Where was I? Yes, I was finishing this last very small dram. Following that up with the tea that I forgot I had. If that's Le Madame, hold on a second here, people. I'm going to mute myself and I'm back. Kristen, she still have her boot on. Are you talking? If you're asking about Cody, no, she's back to running around. She's back to running. No, I just had to turn the camera and the mic off because the madame came down stairs. But I mean, we're only here for another 5 minutes, right? Daft Punk. One more dram. That's hilarious. I still got a little drop. There we go. Oop, there it is. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna talk about next week either. It's hard to sorta come up with things to talk about sometimes. It's not showing up yet, but, Jim said, "Muted to scream tabernouche." That's funny. Mm. So in the last 4 minutes, I didn't have anything that they would like to suggest for next week's stream. First of all, did we, like, set Lee up enough, or should we continue that conversation next week with, because we talked about fire kit, we talked about shelter. Um, what Chris just said is true as well. Sometimes you don't need a topic, just fellowship with each other is enough sometimes, which is true. Which is why, like, when I don't have anything planned, I still come on, right? We still have good conversations even when there's no actual, uh, you know, agenda. Jim is not cracking another beer too close to the end, for sure. No, no, don't bother. If you're going to bed soon, I'm not cracking another beer, and I'm not pouring another pint, dram, pint of whiskey. That would be killer. Survivalism in movies. If I can find something about that, we can talk about that for sure. Absolutely. All right, so we're down to the end. We're down to the end here. There's like 1 minute left. Um, yeah, Peanut Sugar says it's good while just listening tonight while traveling makes it go by fast. When I have something somewhere far to go, there's a podcast I listen to called Someone's Hardcore History. What the hell is his name? Whatever, hardcore history. He's like a journalist. He's not an actual historian. He's a journalist, but like a real history buff. And so when he starts talking about this stuff, you can just hear Dan Carlin's hardcore history. You can hear the love in his voice for the subject matter. And each episode is like 3 to 5 or 6 hours. Now they come out infrequently because they go so long. Um, but good stuff. Yeah, so if I'm driving, like, if I had to drive from Montreal to Toronto, I would put on a Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, um, podcast, and they're really long, and they're just fabulous, and I like listening to history stuff. I don't mean I like history in that, I'm one of those guys who wants to see the red ensign back as Canada's flag, or, you know, bl non-whites back where they should be, or any of that stuff. I find the story of the world fascinating, you know? Um Yeah, now we're absolutely at 1 minute, so I am going to say good night until the next live stream. Between now and next week, everybody please uh, be healthy, be sane, be safe, and be kind to one another. Good night, friends.